Hello, everybody! Hope you're all doing well. So, we are finally out of Variety Week and back to our regularly scheduled, whatever you want to call this. I don't know. Pain? Suffering? I don't know. It's Grisaia. There's fucking a million emotions happening all at once. A lot of them generally starting off with confusion. Because that's just how Grisaia rolls. As we've learned over this, year of me playing through it. Sorry. Yep. So yeah, we are back to playing some Fruit of Grisaia today, continuing on with our final route. Good old Yumiko. Recap from what happened last time, we finished off her backstory that she was telling us. Everything that happened after, in her backstory, the second half, after a big thing happened with her mom. Out of the complete blue, her father wanted her back in her life, wanting to bring her to live with him again. You know, just trying to be a good dad, apparently. She was more than happy to leave her grandparents' place because they're just kind of assholes. While she was very hesitant at first, eventually, she came around and was actually enjoying her time with her dad, and he seemed to be enjoying his time with her. She was starting to make some friends at her brand new school, and everything was going for the better. It was actually good, making plans that once her mother gets out of the hospital and better, they'd all go on some kind of vacation together. Yumiko's life was looking good. And then she came home early one day, and the servants were talking about, stuff. Namely, that child he had with his mistress, oh yeah, it ended up dying, after, about a year, and then she ran off, so he needed an heir, so he went back to his only child, his daughter. Even apparently hiring private investigators to follow her and find out everything about her, so he'd be able to relay it during their little dinner conversation chats, to seem like he's a caring and attentive father. So that fucked her up. And then when she goes to school, her best friend, quote unquote, is only friends with her so she can get some kind of juicy gossip out of her. So that was just kind of the final straw. Yumiko snapped, pulled out the box cutter, and slashed at her friend's hand, laughing kind of crazily. She literally lost it. She just kind of lost it, and then after that, that is why Mihama Academy was created, and she was put there. So she'd be kind of forgotten about and looked after, so he doesn't have to, actually give that much of a shit. Yeah. So that was everything that led up to her being placed in Mihama Academy. She just finished relaying all this to Yuji in the middle of a thunderstorm under a bridge because she was scared. Mostly because the thunder reminded her of the day her mom found out her dad was cheating. Well, cheated, and was gonna divorce her. Yeah. There's a lot to unpack there. Well, actually, that does remind me. I'm going to put back into the title content warnings, because we may be out of the backstory, but you never know what's gonna, appear. You never know what's gonna happen. What's up, Mochi? How's it going, buddy? This is still too hot. You are just in time. Oh, also I gotta change it one thing quickly. Don't need to see my cursor anymore. Yeah, you guys don't need to see my cursor for this. There's no point. Alright. So we are, we're just gonna be jumping right back into Yumiko's route. Right back in. Her backstory has been told. They are still essentially cuddling underneath the fucking bridge while the thunderstorm happens. So, yeah. That's exactly where we left off. So now Yuji has to process, all of that. Huh. Weird. When my mouse is inside the window capture thing, it flickers when I move it. But it doesn't when I'm anywhere else. That's really strange. Weird. Don't know what that's about. Oh well, not a huge deal. Alright, so let's just get right into it. Besides, I don't need the cursor anyway. A personality starts off as something like a cube. When you're young, we clumsily bump our corners against other people in the form of childish conflicts. Eventually, our sharp edges are worn away to leave something more like a sphere. That's more or less what people are describing when they say someone's softened. Moderate collisions with others help us mature, but when those first impacts are too strong, they can have a different effect. Instead of losing our corners little by little, we splinter in strange, harsh ways, warping into crooked shapes. Once crooked, it's hard to become a sphere. Even as the people around them mellow, their sharpness only grows harsher, and everyone who approaches ends up getting hurt. But even the most warped human beings start off the same shape as everyone else. Sometimes they look back on the past and grieve. Sometimes they wonder if it's not too late to reshape themselves. And because they know that's an empty dream, they grieve once again. Sakaki Yumiko is one of many such sad, distorted objects. The rain, which I'd taken for a passing shower, continued long after the thunder passed. By the time we leave our cover in the lingering drizzle, the sun's already set. In a change from the usual routine, I hurry down the road home with an arm wrapped around Sakaki, who stumbles along unsteadily at my side. Unfortunately. The rain's very weak by now, but the constant dampness has left her body noticeably chilled. And at that moment, her emotional state is a bit of a concern as well. I lean closely over Sakaki as we walk, sheltering her from the rain as best I can. That relatively brief journey back to the dorm feels awfully long right now.
あ、帰ってきた。どうしたの？ずいぶん遅かったじゃん。榊さんどうしたの？何か怪我とかしたとか？
Amana yelps in surprise the instant she lays eyes on us. Was it that much of a shock to see me holding Sakaki by the shoulder? Well, considering the girl's normal personality, I suppose it's only reasonable to jump straight to assuming something's physically wrong with her. We got caught in that downpour, that's all. We sheltered from the rain for a while.
それで雨に濡れちゃったのね。榊さん大丈夫？ごめんなさい。心配をかけたわね。
Her physical condition aside, Sakaki seemed badly drained in spirit. That uncharacteristic weakness from before is still plainly evident in her tone of voice.
体冷えたでしょ？何か温かいものでも飲む？用意するけど。
think she's more surprised that you're holding Yumiko and don't have a box cutter large than your carotid. Yeah, true.
ありがとう。それじゃあお言葉に甘えていただくわ。了解。幼児は榊さんを部屋まで連れて行って、後で持っていくから。
I appreciate it.
いいわよこれぐらい。それよりほら早く。
I'm making a note. Once I'm old and gray, I'm gonna write, Amane was like a mother to us all in my memoirs.
お礼のつもりだったら吹き込むような表記はマジ勘弁して。
As soon as I got Sakaki to her room, she collapsed into her bed. Normally, she would have ejected me to change out of her wet clothes, but she's currently lacking the energy and willpower to bother.
よほど疲れてたのね。もう寝ちゃったわよ、榊さん。
Yeah. The hot orange and honey drink Amane provided seems to calm Sakaki down. It didn't take long at all for her to nod off. I think she's got a slight fever as well. We were out in the rain and all.
みたいね。ちょっと暑いかな。
Lightly holding her hand to Sakaki's forehead, Amane nods in agreement. Sakaki doesn't seem to be in any real discomfort, but I can tell that she's breathing a little roughly. In any case, thanks for the help, Amane. I'm gonna keep an eye on her for a little longer, but you can head back to your room. Amane's response seems oddly hesitant. What's wrong?
ねえ、ユージ。
Yes?
あのさ、分かってるとは思うけど、やっちゃダメだからね。
Don't do her! Are you I'm sorry, no. No, he's not gonna use. Oh, you're lying there all sick and defenseless with the fever? Well, guess if I must. No, he's got class. Also given no indication of actually wanting to do any of that with her, besides joking. Fucking Amane. The hell?
だからさ、二人っきりじゃん？看病してるわけじゃない？そしたらなんかこう、ついでにしちゃったら大変だし、その風邪うつっちゃったら大変かなって。
Oh my fucking god, Amane. My face falls into my palm. Oh my god. He's face palming. For some reason, I find myself recalling a gag brain graph website Sachi showed me once. Just by entering someone's name, you get the brain-shaped pie chart breaking down the composition of their thoughts. I didn't think to try Amane at the time, but I think hers would be divided in half right down the middle. One side would be folksy grandma wisdom, and the other, as should probably go without saying, would be branded with the word sex. God almighty. You think I'm gonna start making babies like a rabbit the moment someone leaves me in a cage with a female? Does this scenario play out frequently inside that filthy mind of yours?
だから大事に至らないように釘刺しておこうっていうことよ。わかるでしょ、そういう。
No! I don't know where you're coming from with this. It's still not entirely clear to me what Amane's so worried about, but I find it extremely unpleasant to have such aspirations cast on my character. Yeah, I don't fucking know. Aspersions? Not aspirations. That's a different word. Why did I say aspiration? I'm an idiot. but I'm your guys' idiot. Aspersion? Yeah, aspersions. An attack on the reputation or integrity of someone or something. Okay, aspersions. New word. Oh my fucking god. Well, it's not a bad idea, come to think of it.
何がよ。
I've heard that a slight fever can actually make for a more enjoyable experience, in some respects.
え?
Oh my god. Alright then. Might as well put that to the test. It's not like you can catch a fever intentionally, and I'll admit, I'm curious. I'm sure Sakaki will understand. A little experimentation like this can only enrich your life, right? She might end up thanking me for expanding her horizons. Stop. Do not please. I'm sorry. Do not joke about that. No. That's going a bit far, Yuji. I'm sorry. The thought hadn't even occurred to me. But thanks to a tip from my sexually savvy friend Amane, a new world of possibility awaits. Life is always overflowing with chances to explore the wonders of the unknown. I'm deeply impressed by your ability to keep that in mind every time, even at a time like this. Thank you, Amane! God, no! You're not sexually assaulting Yumiko as a joke. Don't even joke about doing it. Come on, man! Come on! I was kinda starting to like you again! What the fuck? I was kinda starting to like you again, and now you pull this shit out of your hat. Amane? Please, I swear to God, not sexually assaulting a friend! Oh my god. Don't do that, people. Don't do that. Unless you're doing roleplay and you've already got the consent, don't do it. Okay? Shouldn't even be a rule of thumb, should just be a rule of fucking life. Don't do that! Have you seen... I have not seen that meme. I did not realize that was a meme. Fuck, I'm uninformed. Amane stares back at me with the blank eyes of a broken electronic toy. Smiling brightly, I give her a friendly thump on the shoulder. It was a joke. Oh, thank you! Thank fucking Christ! Amane's karate chop lands a critical hit smack in the middle of my weary head. Yeah, you deserve it, fucker. You deserve it. From outside, an owl hoots in mournful commiseration.
じゃあ、私そろそろ戻るけどさ、本当にダメだからね。そっとしとかないと。
What seems to be the prop? That's it. Get the deport papers. Hey, Nick, how's it going, buddy? I said I understand, didn't I? Come on, get lost already.
信用ならね。
Amane backs slowly out of the room, staring at me reproachfully all the way. I was only teasing her a little in retaliation for slandering me, but it seems I've ended up deepening her unfounded suspicions. Probably best to consider the possibility she might try some half-assed wiretapping outside the door. Shaking my head, I return to Sakaki's side. Her breath's coming regularly, a little more quietly than before. She doesn't seem to have noticed the commotion in the slightest. Well, that's definitely for the best. Borrowing the chair from Sakaki's desk, I ease myself down and look over her at closer range. Come to think of it, this is the first time I've seen her sleeping. Girl really does have a pretty face. She's constantly forcing it into a scowl, so it's easy not to notice at times. But Sakaki Yumiko is definitely what you'd call a beauty. Right now, that face is relaxed, her eyes shut, her cheeks slightly flushed. Sakaki looks very calm and peaceful at the moment. But much of her life has been an emotional roller coaster of loneliness, hope, and anger. Now that I know the whole story, her usual prickly attitude is all too understandable. Rest easy, alright? I'll protect you. I lightly reach down to put my hand on her forehead, currently covered in a damp towel. The moisture against my palm is slightly warm from the heat of her fever. Oh, that's sweet. Okay, I'm starting to like him again after that bullshit he pulled. Early the next morning, I'm stretching in preparation for my usual running when I hear quiet footsteps on the stairs. A familiar look of mild surprise. However, where Sakaki's expression would normally shift to a frown, today it changes to something hesitant and uncertain. What's the matter? Your face is red. Still carrying that fever around?
失礼ね。熱ならもうとうの昔に収まったわよ。収まったわよ。あなたのおかげで。
No one can stay mad at Kazumi Rizji. Jesus Christ, Mochi. What the fuck was that? Kazumi Rizji. Jesus Christ. Good to hear.
昨日はそのいろいろとありがとう。
I'm cooking fucking Christ. I didn't do anything worth being thanked for.
したわよ。護衛の依頼のはずなのに、あんなことを一方的に話したりして。
You asked for my permission before you started talking, and I agreed to listen. There's nothing wrong with that.
そう。
I've noticed Sakaki tends to grow oddly sullen when the topic of my job comes up, but today she seems downright docile. And the girl does look healthy enough. Still, it's entirely possible yesterday's events left some lingering psychological effects. Sakaki.
何かしら。
As long as your request is in place, I'll protect you. Rest assured. That's all. Finishing my leg stretches, I stand up and check the clock. This man was fucking stretching this entire time that was happening. Just about time for me to be heading out. I'm gonna be running for a while. Unless you need anything? Alright then. See you this afternoon. Feeling Sakaki's eyes following me from behind, I leave the dorm. I don't have much to offer Sakaki right now. A simple promise is the best I can do. Hopefully, that's enough to provide some reassurance. The past can't be taken back no matter how hard you try. And that's a lesson I myself learned all too well. All the more reason she has to value her present. Hopefully they've just given up, but... Fortunately, the threats approaching Sakaki have gone quiet for the moment. If this pattern continues, it shouldn't be hard for me to keep my promise. Well, you just jinxed it, buddy. You just jinxed it. And a few days later, in an echo of Sakaki's past, the hopeful present abruptly takes a sharp turn for the worse. Oh, come on! You alright, Sakaki? Can you keep running? Just immediately into an action scene, I guess. So she says, but it's obvious at a glance that the girl's close to her limit. Harsh gasps for air interrupt the feeble words coming out of her mouth. Damn it. They caught me napping. Seemingly taking my words of regret as their cue, a number of men swiftly surround us. Oh my god, these fucking same-faced jokers again. Protecting Sakaki behind my back, I confront a semicircle of attackers. This sort of scene has certainly been common enough over the last month. But this time, our opposition is in an entirely different league. Is this what they were aiming for all along? They stopped a car above the riverbank and came down on us suddenly. Up until that point, it was the same as usual. But as my master once told me, relying on precedent is a dangerous game. Always think outside the range of your predictions. A lesson, it seems, I didn't learn nearly well enough. As I readied myself for another simple one-by-one attack, the first three men out of the car charged at me simultaneously. What? Caught by surprise, I faltered for just a moment. They seized their chance and executed a beautifully coordinated attack. The first two moved to grab my arms and legs, while the trailing man came straight at me to deliver the disabling blow. The fight would have been over in seconds if I'd misjudged the attacks from the left and right even slightly. Stooping down to avoid their grasping arms, I kicked the first man's ankle and chopped my hand into the second man's liver. Since when do they attack? I didn't even have time to catch my breath before the third man's fist came down on me from above. Sheer reflex got my elbow up in time to block the punch, but his attacks continued in an unrelenting stream. Damn it. That hurts, asshole! This guy had some impressive back muscles, and he knew how to use them. His tightly clenched fist swung down at my head with the force of two massive hammers. A single direct hit would have given me a concussion at the very least, and a knockout seemed a very real possibility. Ha! Yeah, he's just going, ha! I get it, okay? Making these specific kind of noises is still a little weird for me, okay? This man's doing a fucking Saiyan battle cry here. With a sharp battle cry, I slipped by the hammerman's side and drove my heel into his knee. The hammer stopped in his tracks. As he reflexively reached down for his right leg, I followed up with a second kick, this time to the head. I'd somehow managed to bring down the first wave of attackers, but the dramatic change in their tactics was alarming. I could feel my heart thudding frantically in my chest. If they try that with a bigger team, it's gonna get ugly. My instinctive response was to run for it with Sakaki in tow. Unfortunately, our enemies clearly anticipated that. The hammer? Can I get your autograph? Where they used to have their entire force charged down from the car, this time they set up a second team further along the bank to cut off our retreat. Can't let them all attack at once or it's game over. I carefully size up the group of men surrounding us. One thing's immediately clear. There's not going to be an easy way out this time. Listen up, Sakaki. I'm going for a preemptive strike. Once I open a gap in their perimeter, make a run for it. I'll keep them off your back. There's no time to debate this. Let's go. I break into a sprint, heading for a point where 3 of the 5 men surrounding us easily move to intercept. As expected, they instantly launch a simultaneous attack, aiming to trap me in a pincer. There we go! I dodge grasping arms from the left and right at the very last possible moment, slipping forward to leave two of the men charging directly at each other. Oh my god, this is a fucking like Looney Tunes. The pair of dark-suited men jerk to an unsteady halt like a pair of outfielders chasing the same fly ball. Seizing the moment, I grab them by the legs and flip them off their feet. The 2 men hit the ground head first with a satisfying pair of thunks. Oh my god, why do they use that as a sound effect for a chokehold? Before I can even confirm they're staying down, their buddy's got a sleeper chokehold on me from behind. Nut him. But I'd seen this coming from the moment he started circling around behind me. I bend back into the hold, then strain my abdominal muscles and swing my body sharply forward. Sounds like I'm choking oh my fucking god, Mochi. Tossed over my shoulder in a throw you might see in a judo competition, the man flies a good 2 meters forward before landing face first in the dirt. That's 3 taken care of. Now all I need to do is keep the 2 coming from behind occupied long enough for Sakaki to get clear. Alright! Now! Run, Sakaki! Hurry up! Still shooting reluctant glances in my direction, Sakaki begins to run along the riverbank. The other 2 attackers quickly try to slip past me and pursue her. Not happening! As the pair splits apart to either side, I hurl a stone tied to a heavy string toward the feet of the fat— How'd you make a bolos? Immediately! Tripped up by the cord, the man turns a somersault in the air and lands awkwardly on the ground, one arm crunching loudly underneath him. Even as I'm confirming that he's down, I've begun to grapple with his partner. The moment we come to grips, it's clear to me that I've left the most troublesome one of the bunch for last. His physique didn't particularly stand out in this group, but he's got dense muscles and an excellently balanced body. This is exactly his sort of fight. I was hoping to take him down smoothly and catch up with Sakaki, but guess that's not happening. I can only pray Sakaki manages to get out of here on her own. Silent, except for his intermittent breathing, the man moves his body back and forth in a variety of ways, probing for a gap in my defenses. It's a far cry from the frantic wriggling of an amateur. Every movement has meaning. I can't let my guard down for even a moment. Please get out of here! Keeping half an eye on Sakaki, I desperately hold him in check. And just as she's finally reaching the foot of the slope, distracted by the fight behind her, Sakaki stumbles over a heavy patch of undergrowth and falls to the ground. Sakaki! For a split second, her scream distracts me. This man pull out a knife? Dizzyingly intense pain shoots through my left arm. You got me! I can feel the skin of my arm rapidly growing hot, as if suddenly plunged into a tub of boiling water. A small glistening silver knife sticks straight out of my forearm like some absurd work of modern art. Oh my god. My grip on the man weakens against my will. In an instant, he's broken free of the grapple. God damn. The corners of his mouth curl up in something vaguely resembling a smile as he turns his attention to Sakaki. Good fucking Christ. Sakaki scrambles frantically across the ground, her face distorted with terror. As if savoring the moment, the man begins to lop toward her at a relaxed pace. His first moment of carelessness. I won't let you! With one sharp yank, I tear the knife out of my arm, then hurl it at the man's ankle. Ah! Ah, no. I don't like that. The man collapses onto the ground and reaches down for his wounded leg. Before he can get his hands around the knife, I straddle him and smash a fist into his solar plexus. Oh my god! Gastric juice sprays from his mouth. The man loses consciousness. Or spraying from his mouth. Oh my god. Made this man throw up. I can feel blood flowing rapidly out of my body. Abruptly released from the tension of the fight, exhausted and bleeding, I look up to find the world swaying before my eyes. Yeah, the adrenaline is now, the adrenaline is, now, going away. You're coming down from it, so have fun with blood loss and, shock. Sakaki rises to her feet and runs over. Staring wide-eyed at the blood streaming down my arm, she presses her hands to her mouth, speechless with horror. I'm fine. You need to get out of here, Sakaki. Hurry. It'll be alright once I stop the bleeding. Get moving. There might be more where those guys came from. Completely ignoring my repeated instructions to run, Sakaki reaches into her breast pocket, takes out a handkerchief, and holds it to my wound. The pure white piece of cloth is quickly dyed bright red. Her anguished expression distorts still further. I've heard people say women are a little less queasy around blood because of their regular menstrual cycle, okay? But I doubt that makes an injury like this any less surreal and terrifying. I don't know if that is true or not. The game is gonna... I don't know. Apparently Yuji's heard it, meaning someone who wrote this game has heard it. I don't know if that's true. If anyone wants to chime in and actually knowing, that'd be cool. I'm not gonna take the word of fucking Kazumi Yuji, okay?
どこを止血すればいいの？私も詳しくないから教えて。
Telling you, it's fine. Right now, you need to...
あなた一人残せるわけがないでしょ。早く。
Gonna be right back real quick. Sorry about that. I think probably one of the next things I might invest in is a big soundproof like desk panel, so I can just kind of mount that behind my desk here. I don't know, maybe. It's something. We'll see. I'm not gonna worry about that though right now. Sakaki's face is filled with uncharacteristically raw and obvious emotion. But then again, lately I've seen quite a few human expressions starting to leak out from behind that indifferent front of hers. In any case, there's no point letting this circular argument drag on forever. We're just wasting time at this point. Fine. Tie it tightly just under the elbow. Sorry about the handkerchief, but I'll keep it over the wound itself for now. There should be bandages in my bag. Can you wrap one over the entire area? Appreciate it. With my guidance, Sakaki performs some rudimentary first aid. Soon, I'm back on my feet. The blood loss has left me more than a little lightheaded, but we nonetheless hurry along the road home as quickly as possible. And after all, there's no telling what else these people might have planned. The old rules clearly no longer apply. Sakaki hasn't spoken a word. Most likely out of concern for me. He's gonna have to report this to JB, isn't he? He is a company asset, and if he gets injured like this, he's gonna have to tell them that it happened and why it happened, and who knows, this may eventually get some blowback onto, you know, fucking what's-his-face, her dad. It's like, you're attacking one of our agents, one of our, you know, assets. You can't be doing that. You do that, I don't know, they'll do something. I feel like he doesn't have that much pull against this multinational organization, from what I can understand. I think, you know, hurting one of their valued assets is, not exactly a thing he should have done, you know? Not a smart move. Sure, he's just on the reserve list right now, but still. He gets calls, and now he's technically out of... I would consider him out of commission for a while until that arm wound heals. Which he really shouldn't have pulled the... It's tip, everyone, if something is stabbed into you, if you're pierced by something, especially like a knife or something jagged, stuff like that, don't take it out. Don't pull it out. It's only gonna potentially cause something even worse to happen. That could be stopping, you know, it could very well be stopping you from bleeding out. Or as you pull it out, you could nick something else. That's why you want to keep it in you, get proper medical help, and then if, you know, it ends up being worse, they are ready and prepared for it. Yeah. There's your random unsolicited tip of the day. It's painfully obvious that she's worried, but that only makes this feel even worse. Pathetic. What kind of a bodyguard makes the client worry about them? For the moment, I've got to get us back to safe ground and plan some immediate countermeasures. Their tactics have changed on a fundamental level. They can't get away with the usual routine anymore. Across from the red glow of the setting sun, a flock of black rain clouds pushed threateningly into the sky, as if to reinforce the looming threat. Looks like it's gonna be another rainy night.
そうか。傷は負わせることに成功したんだな。次は確実に仕留めろ。ああ、やむを得ん状況ならば殺しても構わん。由美子が暴れるようなら無理にでも車に押し込めて連れてこい。いいな。
Again, I don't think Michiaki realizes who he's going to be dealing with if he somehow ends up getting Yuji killed. I feel like that's going to have some repercussions. You don't just kill a government, asset like that. All for your own private, personal thing.
邪魔はさせん。私は私のやりたいようにやるのだ。私の言うことを聞け、由美子。
おかえ、ちょっと
Understandably, it doesn't take long for Amane to notice that something's wrong. Practically the moment we're inside the dorm, her shocked voice attracts the attention of everyone lounging around in the lobby. As they run up, the blood seems to drain from their faces.
これどうしたのよさ、お兄ちゃん。包帯が真っ赤です。血で。何？事故とか？それとも何かあったの？ねえ。
The lazy summer evening quickly gives way to a borderline panic.
とりあえず病院へ連絡した方がいい？それとも連れて行こうか？
No. There's some complicated circumstances, but I'd prefer not to make too much of a scene. A little treatment here should be enough. Sachi?
はい。
Sorry, but can you help me out?
はい、わかりました。今すぐ。私も手伝うわ。お湯とか沸かせばいいんだっけ。みちる様、お子さんを産むわけではありません。
Oh my god.
でも清潔なタオルとかそういうのは必要です。オッケー。
Sachi and Michiru noisily dash back to their respective rooms. Guess I'll head to my room for the moment. Saki, could you help me over there?
ええ、もちろんよ。
Appreciate it.
部屋に行って詳しい話を聞くしかなさそうね。妙な匂いがプンプンなのよさ。
No duh, it's fishy. A few minutes after Sakaki helped me into bed, Sachi treats my wound with the skill of an experienced nurse. It's no worse than what I would have gotten at the hospital. Our maid's fearless capabilities in this field are worthy of further examination, but for the moment, explaining the situation to uneasy classmates gathered around me has to come first.
なんかとんでもない話になってきたわね。
Amane responds to my brief summary with those words and a worried sigh. Everyone had some idea that Sakaki had been coming under attack, but a knife coming into play seems to have left them more than a little disturbed.
ユミちゃんに何もなかったのは幸いだったのよさ。さすがは風見さんです。とはいえ傷は心配ですが。
You don't need to worry about me. The change in strategy just caught me by surprise today. I won't slip up like that next time.
そうなの？ユミコもユージも大丈夫って思っていいのよね。
Yeah, of course. It's a lie. An attempt to reassure them, nothing more. The ex-military man who knifed me today was a seriously tough opponent, and the others were no slouches either. Even under ideal circumstances, it would have been a tough fight. My failure this time is only going to encourage them to double down on the tough tactics. And while they can bring in fresh bodies, my cuts and bruises are going to start slowing me down eventually. I need to start devising countermeasures sooner rather than later. Sakaki's been very quiet for a while now. Her face is distinctly downcast. It's not like she's the one who stabbed me, but since she's been known to try on occasion, it's probably better not to joke about that. Sorry, but I'm feeling a little tired. Think you could let me sleep for a while?
そっか、了解。じゃあ私らは退散するわね。
Even Amane doesn't seem eager to throw the usual banter around. Understandable under the circumstances. Sakaki, I'm sure today was a little nerve-wracking for you. Being alone might be frightening right now. So why don't you sleep over in someone else's room? Sorry, Sachi, but would you mind?
はい、わかりました。榊さん、行きましょう。わかったわ。
Let me know immediately if you notice anything suspicious. They haven't tried anything on school grounds so far, but there's no telling what comes next.
はい、了解です。
Ad break. I'm gonna wait 3 minutes for you guys. I don't want to continue on, so sorry. I want to be fair to you guys. I want you guys to experience this stuff with me. Or, you know, in Mochi's case, watch me experience it. Yep. That was me, alright. Oh, yeah. Heard that crack. So, wow, we really started just really hard out of the gate today. My god. As Grisaia, it loves to just kind of go, you know, hardball. Ooh, excuse me. It absolutely loves to go absolute hardball all the time. Whether it's something sweet, something funny, something super serious and sad. Oh my god. It just goes hard. Yes, Ruby, I hear you. You gonna come here? Or you just gonna stay at the top of the stairs and just, You little goofball, you. There, we get a little, you guys got a little bit of Ruby time. Okay. Good girl. She's such a good girl. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. Good old puppers. You're my good girl, right? Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Go lie down. Okay? Go lie down. Yeah. Look at her just staring. Oh, man. Alright, ad break is over. Everybody should be back now. Okay. I'm glad that's there. I'm supposed to be getting the option to skip the ads, but I guess it just kind of said no now. I'm just not getting an option to at least delay the ads anymore. I mean, annoying, but well, whatever. Maybe something went wrong with it and they're trying to fix it. Or the 3 times I could snooze it was like, yeah, you just have 3 times you can snooze it overall, like forever, which is like, oh, that's shitty. I used them all. Sakaki barely said a word, right up until the moment Sashi hustled her out of the room. And that weighs on my mind a little. But even as I try to think it over, I feel myself sinking slowly into unconsciousness. As I sleep, I dream of Sakaki. I see her as a young girl, standing very still in absolute darkness, sobbing endlessly. When I approach, her appearance changes to the young woman I know. But the tears don't stop flowing down her face. No matter what I say to her, Sakaki stands oblivious in the darkness, crying bitter tears. Sakaki? The moment I wake up, I notice an odd sensation enveloping my left hand. The darkened room is silent, but I sense someone's presence nearby. It almost feels like a continuation of the dream, but when I move my eyes to the side, the truth becomes clear. Aww. Guys. Aww. She really does care. Sakaki. I'm sure Sachi ushered her out of the room. She should be sleeping by now. Instead, she's sitting at my side.
ごめんなさい。起こしてしまったかしら。
It's alright. I got some sleep. Have you been sitting here all this time? She answers with a quiet nod.
どうしても心配だったから、小峰さんの部屋に着いてすぐ戻ってきてしまったの。
Ah.
で、ずっと握っててごめんなさい。
The strange warmth surrounding my left wrist was coming from Sakaki's hands. I don't really mind.
そう。
Sakaki's downturned eyes briefly steal a glance at my face. They're a little bloodshot, and I can see a hint of red in her cheeks. She's been holding his hand and crying for God knows how long. Seems the dream just now might have been accurate in a way. Can't even speak.
本当にごめんなさい。
Stroking my hand a little, she speaks in a sincerely apologetic tone. Nothing to worry yourself over. When you're on guard duty, that sort of thing's always a possibility. Let's just be thankful no one ended up in the hospital.
でも
From the look on her face, I can tell Sakaki isn't remotely convinced by this line of argument. Look, it's nothing you need to feel guilty about. I accepted your request, so I'll put my body on the line when necessary. Even if I get a little banged up, as long as you're safe, that's a success.
成功なわけないでしょ。何を言ってるの。
All of a sudden, her quiet voice grows rough and quavery.
何を言ってるのよ本当にこんな気がして成功なんて
Seems I chose my words somewhat poorly. Sakaki's reached the end of her endurance. Tears, clearly not the first she'd shed tonight, fall onto my bandaged hand. Sakaki.
ごめんなさい私この間からあなたに情けない姿ばかりを
The quiet crying begins to grow in intensity. Grasping my palm tightly, Sakaki heaves with sobs like a frightened child, teardrops raining from her face. Her voice echoes loudly inside the otherwise hushed room. Of course it's raining too. From outside the window, I can hear the faint sound of water cutting through the air. Come to think of it, the forecast called for rain a little after midnight. It's exactly the sort of dark, ugly rain Sakaki hates so much.
怖いのよ怖くて仕方ないの
After a few minutes of wordless crying, those words slip out of her mouth. Of what?
私のために周囲の人がこんな目に遭うのが本当に怖くて嫌で仕方ないのよこのままだと風見くんも寮の子たちだって私のせいで嫌な目に遭わせてしまうかもしれない
Sakaki squeezes down tighter and tighter. A tear lands on top of her rigid, trembling hands. Then another.
もうあんなことは本当に
Losing her mother, betrayed by her father, denied even the chance to make friends. She was pushed into a mock school built as a gilded cage. On an emotional level, it's not surprising that Sakaki finds this latest breakdown deeply painful. But that's also exactly why I want to do something for her. The job isn't easy under these circumstances, but if I can give her some peace of mind, I honestly don't mind taking a few wounds like this. Looking up at Sakaki's miserable face, I find myself regretting that I didn't manage to pass it off as a lighter injury.
あなたを風見くんをこれ以上苦しめるわけにはいかない
Don't worry about me. I can still do my job, even if...
分かってよ私あなたのことを本当に心配しているのよ
She's not worried about him as a bodyguard. She's worried about him because she loves him. And that was very obviously going to happen, and the hints were there that she was into him. Oh my god. Her voice is desperate. Hoarse from the tears. I can't remember the last time I felt such powerful hatred for my own incompetence. Complete silence settles over the room. Sakaki's eyes don't leave mine. With a sorrowful expression on her face, she opens her mouth and speaks sorrowful words.
あなたを解雇します
What was that? For a moment, I wonder if I've misheard. But she doesn't hesitate to confirm my fears.
依頼だからなのよね私を守ってくれるのは だからあなたを解雇します。
You really think that's gonna stop him? What are you saying? You saw those people today. Without me around, next time they'll definitely...
構わないわ。それであなたや寮のみんなが無事なら。
Oh my god. To be certain, although they attacked me today, their target was Sakaki alone. If I leave her side, the main threat disappears. Those dangerous goons will probably decrease in number. Maybe even disappear altogether. But of course, that's simply because they'll be able to accomplish their objective even without the muscle. I swore I'd protect Sakaki. After making a promise like that, I can't accept a request to abandon her. Sorry, but you're still in danger. I'm not willing to shrug my shoulders and walk away. I refuse to resign.
ダメよ。強制的にでも破棄する。
Do you know what you're saying here? These people aren't playing around anymore. You're going to...
分かってちょうだい。
Listen to me, Sakaki.
分かってる。お願いだから。お願いだから。分かってよ。
Bro, she made up her mind. She made up her mind. Sakaki's expression tells the story. This isn't something she just said on the spur of the moment. It was a painful decision made after long thought. The tracks her tears have left on her face, the tightly clenched hands, that anguished inner debate has left its marks on her. But just because I understand the depth of her resolve doesn't mean I can accept this. It's painfully frustrating to know my sloppiness drove her to such an agonizing decision. Alright. I accept your dismissal. Sakaki isn't gonna budge no matter what I say. For the moment, there's no way to give her relief. There's no other way to give her relief. The instant I speak those words, the tension drains out of her hands.
ごめんなさい。私。
It's as if a heavy weight has fallen from her shoulders, as if she's lost something precious. A hollow excuse for a smile on her face, Sakaki continues to apologize to me. Don't apologize. You're not in the wrong. The sound of the rain outside gradually grows louder. A harsh pattering fills the dark room, cut off even from the light of the moon. As of this day, my employment with Sakaki Yumiko came to an end in the form of dismissal. Things are no better than they were at the beginning. No one's being saved. It's the emptiest of all possible conclusions. You're still gonna tell JB that you got attacked, right? And got a stab wound? Right? I feel like she's gonna know exactly who did it. And there's gonna be repercussions. There has to be. He attacked a government asset. I'm sorry, I'm kind of, I'm gonna be hung up on that, because he is a government asset. And they kind of don't want him to be, probably harmed or injured. They want to know what, his status is. Like, don't just gloss over this game! Of course, it's gonna gloss over it. My contract with Sakaki is at an end. I'm no longer obligated to guard her. What makes you think she'll tell you, though? I mean, Yuji should be the one to be telling JB, that's what I mean. Yuji should be informing JB that, yeah, I got stabbed in the arm while protecting Sakaki, and I'm pretty sure JB could put 2 and 2 together. Because again, he's a government fucking agent. He works for... He's a hired killer, essentially. In a way, he's a government contract killer. I'm pretty sure they want to know when some third party decides to harm or partially disable them. There's gonna be words. There should be words. I don't think Michiaki Sakaki has enough influence over the entirety of Ichigaya. I highly doubt it. Our classmates were uniformly surprised by the news, but they haven't pestered Sakaki about her reasons. And I think they more or less figured out why she made that painful decision. Makina, you ready to go? Why are we with Makina? Amane had a shopping list too, didn't she? Don't forget it, or things might get scary later. Tally ho! I must go! Oh my god. Okay, kid, you're just off character now. Don't tally ho me! Makina? Her feet pattering noisily against the carpet, Makina heads up to Amane's room. On the other side of the lobby, Sachi stooping slightly in the attentive pose of an old-time newspaper reporter, jotting down Sakaki's words in a small memo pad.
はい、わかりました。ごめんなさい。あまり外に出るわけにもいかないから。いいんです。遠慮されずに何でもお申し付けください。ありがとう。
But there's no scoop involved. We're just going for a shopping trip, so Sakaki's asked us to pick up a few things, just like Amane.
お待たせなのよさ。アマネからメモもらってきた。じゃあ風見さん、行きましょうか。
Yeah. Answering my younger classmates, I glanced to the far side of the lobby. Sakaki's been reading on a sofa at the side of the large front window for a while now. But from the desultory way she's picking through the pages, I think it's safe to say she isn't particularly focused on the story. She's focused on Yuji. She glances up from the page briefly. Our eyes meet from across the room. Sakaki looks away, gets to her feet, and walks off in the direction of her room.
Kazami-san?
Right, yeah. About time we got going. Since relieving me of my position, Saki hasn't set foot outside of the school's walls. That's partially because of her own instinct for self-preservation, and partially because of me. The girl's decided it's no longer possible to actively protect herself against the clear threat posed by those attackers. She dismissed me so I wouldn't be dragged into a losing battle on her behalf. But even after that, I've continued keeping my eye on Sakaki, if more indirectly than before. I try to keep my distance, but I'm never too far away to respond in case something happens. I think Sakaki's faintly aware of that. It's probably part of the reason she's shutting herself up in the dorm instead of going outside and making my life harder. It's not like she's come out and told me any of this, of course. But considering her behavior until now, it seems like a natural interpretation. Sakaki defiantly rejected the life of a bird in a cage, acting as she pleased even in the face of threats. But now she's locked up once again. My determination to protect the girl is part of what's now fencing her in. It's honestly pretty damn frustrating. Amane's shopping list isn't too huge today, and my young classmates only need a few things themselves, all of which we find easily enough. That said, the total time investment on this trip turns out to be fairly sizable.
ユミちゃんのオーダーは細かくてめんどっちいのよさ。
Sakaki's shopping list reflects her personality. It's neatly and methodically written, even naming specific manufacturers and product numbers. Damn! Actual product numbers as well, huh? I don't even know product numbers off the top of my head, and I work in a fucking store. And Sachi insisted we conduct a painstaking hunt for the exact items described. So this final part of the trip is taking longer than the rest combined.
でもここまで細かく言っていただけると買う方としては助かります。
I wanted butter. This is margarine. Yeah, but I can't believe it's not butter. Sachi smiles peacefully, allowing the eco-friendly reusable shopping bags dangling from her hands to sway back and forth. Naturally, she brought enough of those things for all of us. Not that it's anything new, but you sure are on top of things, Sachi.
はい、備えあれば憂いなしと申しますから。すべてにおいて通じる言葉です。
Yeah, true enough. I love that cliche in my workplace too.
避妊用品も常に持ち合わせていれば、と思った際にも慌てずに済みますよね。つまりはそういうことです。
Sachi? Pardon? Okay. That's a thing. Right. Sure. It's a bit late to lament my role in the rising levels of vulgarity around here, but when a girl who comes off as innocence personified starts talking like this, I can't help feeling a little guilty. Then again, lately I've been starting to think a good part of the problem might lie inside Sachi herself. But as I'm considering the matter, Sachi comes to a stop with a small surprise sound. She's gazing a little way down the street with a curious expression on her face. What's wrong, Sachi? I turn to follow her gaze. What the hell is that woman doing? Oh no. Oh, Michiru, no. What are you doing? Honey, no. A certain blonde has parked herself by the side of the road. Oh no, it's JB, isn't it? Okay, it's JB. Never mind. Okay, it's JB, not Michiru. Okay, we're fine. We're good. It isn't Michiru just being Michiru. And what? Oh my god. Grisaia, you're like teaching me so many new words apparently. Ensconced. Established or settle in a comfortable, safe, or secret place. Okay, ensconced. 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 Ensconced in the driver's seat of her tacky, bright yellow sports car, she kicks her bare legs into the air in a tacky display of irritation, turning every male head in the area. She's putting on a big show of waiting for someone, looking down at her watch with a pouty expression of boredom, and occasionally whining to her audience.
いろんなものを持て余してる感じなのよ。
An accurate evaluation. As I bring a hand to my forehead and sigh heavily, the bare-legged blonde in question turns in our direction.
Hi!
Oh my god. And with a greeting more appropriate for a co-ed hitchhiker stranded in the Utah desert, she favors me with a nauseatingly sweet smile. Oh my god. Also, what a specific thing. What a very specific, like, metaphor there. A greeting more appropriate for a co-ed hitchhiker stranded in the Utah desert. Why is he so specific with his metaphors and similes? Like, what the hell, Yuji? Alright, let's go. No reason to hang around here all day. Studiously avoiding eye contact, I attempt to play dumb.
ちょっとおい何無視ってんのよ。こっちは1時間もこうして待ってたのよ。ガン無視ってことはないでしょねえってば。
Abruptly switching to fluent and idiomatic Japanese you'd never expect from someone with her appearance, JB calls to stop me. I obey, feeling my face settle in an expression of profound irritation. What's this? Here I was, thinking the owner of some cheap sex shop decided to announce his grand opening by renting a walking billboard bimbo. But it's just my good friend JB doing her thing. What can I do for you?
これまで功労者として多めに見てきたけど、その暴言はもはや許せないわ。風見裕二。
Oh my god, this fucker. Look, JB, I'm not particularly criticizing you. Wow. Something got caught in my throat. I have the greatest respect for your professional capabilities. All I'm saying is, given your age, it might be time to quit this hobby-o wandering around town in clueless foreigner mode while dirty old men undress you with their eyes. No offense intended.
あんた絶対に次の移動でアフガンかソマリアに飛ばしてやるから覚悟しときなさいよね。
God damn. That might be a nice change of pace. I'm currently unemployed, you see. Really makes you realize the importance of having a nice steady job.
は？何言ってるの？あなた今。
Halfway through the sentence, JB bites her tongue. Sachi and Makina are at my side, and we're in the middle of a public street full of random civilians. Not exactly the time or place to discuss my job.
学生なのに無職とは面白いご身分ね。
Nice save, JB. Well, I suppose not. That's why I'm enjoying a lazy summer vacation instead of polishing my resume.
ねえ、ちょっと話があるんだけど、これから少し付き合わない？
What? Right now?
ええ、すぐに。
Sounds like another troublesome discussion awaits. JB still got a lighthearted expression on her face, but she spoke those words just now in a familiar deadpan tone of voice. From years of experience, I know it means this is somehow related to work. Sorry, but would you two mind going back first?
はい、わかりました。 フレッシュな小娘2人放置プレイでそっちの存在感のない金髪とんのか。お兄ちゃんってそんな熟女好きだったか。
Holy fuck, Machina!
存在感のない金髪。
Someone call the hospital. I think JB just got burned.
おう、ちなみに存在感ある金髪ってのはチルチルのことな。ありゃ忘れようと思っても無理な話やで。
JB is the forgettable blonde, but Michiru is the unforgettable blonde. Oh my god, you're just saying Michiru is more impressive than you. Oh my god. I mean, Michiru is best girl, but wow. Apply acid to burn surface. Holy shit. Just rubbing salt in the wound, Machina. Holy fuck.
存在感。
Well. Shit. Interesting how that part bothers you more than the mature woman crack.
ほらマキちゃん、風見さん困ってるよ。わーったよ。お兄ちゃん、ちゃんとおいたせずにまっすぐ帰ってくるのよ。
Never thought Machina would be the one to say that to me. Times are truly changing.
それじゃあハルデラさん、失礼します。風見さん、先に戻りますね。
At least Sachi is nice about this. Sorry about that. Sachi promptly leaves, dragging a grumbling Machina along with her.
存在感ないかな。結構目立つと思ってたんだけどな。
Oh my god! JP, no, it's fine! Machina's just a little shit. Don't take the kid's crap seriously. Come on, let's get going already. Why is it that all the women in my life, regardless of age and personality, uniformly manage to give me headaches? 'Cause you're a pain in the ass. That's why. So they're a pain in the ass back. That's your comeuppance. You're an ass, so you get headaches for it. Sakaki's begun to shut herself up in her room. Obviously, her visits to the riverbank have stopped as well. After a few minutes zipping down country roads in JB's ridiculously flashy car, the two of us take a seat near the otherwise deserted area where the incidents occurred.
そう。やっぱり個人的に護衛を頼まれていたのね。
And I wasn't specifically restricted from accepting. But in any case, it's been over for a few days now. For the moment, I explained the details of my recent unemployment to JB. I had expected her to be a little more surprised about Sakaki's request and my decision to accept it, but she doesn't even bat an eyelid. Kind of kills my momentum. I suppose JB may have done a little investigation on her own as part of this whole thing with Sakaki's father.
ほら、お弁当作ってきたのよ。食べる？
She's being awfully calm about this. Once I've more or less finished my story, JB pushes a prettily wrapped lunchbox in my direction. Sandwiches, eh? Wise choice, Julia. I suppose even you'd be able to make these without turning the kitchen into too much of a disaster zone. The weirdly girlish packaging is also a little painful to look at, but I decided best to keep that particular thought to myself. You need to keep more than one thought to yourself. You need to keep a lot of thoughts to yourself, buddy. Good God.
あのね、ユージ。あれから私だって多少は料理も上達したって食べる前に一言ぐらい言ってから食べなさいよ。
Rub-a-dub-dub, thanks for the grub. Hmm? I did say something. Didn't you hear me? Why the exasperation? I'll apologize if I did something wrong.
もういいわよ。食べながらでいいから、ちょっと話を聞きなさい。
Okay, what do you gotta say? JB retrieves a small notebook from her black file case, her voice shifting to a businesslike tone. As directed, I listen carefully while chewing away at her egg sandwiches.
先日、市ヶ谷の本家で人事異動があったのは知ってるわね。
Hmm? Yeah, they sent a message around. The chief of staff resigned and they appointed a successor, right?
いつもの勢力争いの結果だけどね。ただちょっと困ったことがあって、後任となった門間陸将補は国交省と強いパイプを持っている人間で、主に私鉄関連の財界人と深い交流を持っていたの。
Okay. So that means they're not going to do anything with the fact that men hired by fucking Michiaki injured Yuji. They're not going to do anything because he's buddy-buddy with their chief of staff. Great. Oh.
陸将補は早速こちらに接触してきたわ。異例なのよね。お偉方が就任早々、私たちみたいな下々のことに気をかけるなんて。何か理由がない限り、そんなことはありえない。一体なぜかしらね。
To deliver some instructions about the situation with Sakaki's father, I'd imagine. East Beach lacked direct influence over our company. Now they've got a way to pressure us. Maybe even give us marching orders.
正解かどうかは私の立場からは言えないわね。ただ陸将補からは風見雄二には別の塀の中に入ってもらった方がいいのではという話も出ていたわ。笑いながらだったから冗談のつもりなんだろうけど、内心はどう思っているんだか。
Oh, great. This really is a fantastic job, despite the crappy salary. First, I'm pushed into a mission, then I'm yanked abruptly off it. In the end, I get a nice trip to the doghouse for my trouble. Our employee benefit program is a shining example to the world.
ねえ、ユージ。ことはもう国レベルの話になってきているの。あなた一人が動いてどうなるような話じゃない。
Why is whether some man connects with his fucking daughter a matter of national interest? The dude's a fucking lowlife, cheating on his wife, ignoring his daughter, and then now trying to force her to, you know, be a good girl? All because he wants an heir, and suddenly the entire fucking country is gonna care about it. He's one dude that owns a fucking railway. This is like a dime a dozen in Japan. What are you telling me to do?
学園から去って榊由美子と関係を断ちなさい。そうしないと今度は命令をもってあなたに相対することになってしまう。
Yeah, because he's gonna do that. I see. So keeping me off the operation itself isn't enough for them anymore. Now they want to keep me away from Sakaki herself. This whole thing has been a headache from the start, and it's clearly only getting worse. However, there's one element of JB's story that's been bothering me for some time. Sakaki's father interfering with public assets on behalf of his private interests is understandable, if legally dubious. But But on a more fundamental level, the plot's full of holes. The vague initial orders, the lack of support, the artificial abduction attempts, and the obvious radical change after Sakaki Yumiko hired me. Under a certain hypothesis, these contradictions all begin to make sense. Hey, JB, there's one thing I want to ask you.
何よ。
Up until now, I assumed Sakaki's father had learned about a threat to his daughter's safety and was taking a variety of measures to protect her.
ええ、そうよ。それが何か。
But considering all the events up until now, the relationships within the Sakaki family, and this odd pressure from the chief of staff, I've started to think that the real threat to Sakaki Yumiko may be her own father. Any thoughts on that hypothesis? That's all he needs to know. She doesn't even get to say a word. The reaction alone is enough. It had been in the back of my mind all along. If Sakaki Michiyaki's objective was simply to protect his daughter, inducing Ichigaya to take me off the job despite my success would make very little sense. But if the man's goals are exactly the opposite, things start to fall into place. He was probably trying to intimidate his daughter at first, and I was deployed to serve as some sort of prop in that play. The attackers' constant complaints about what they signed up for might have referred to a scripted scenario handed down from their employer. In any case, at the present moment, the identity and goal of Sakaki Yumiko's enemy appears very clear. Her father's the one trying to abduct her. Isn't that right, JB? Her face hard and expressionless, JB quietly casts her eyes down. That's more than enough of an answer from me.
私が答えられないと分かっていて聞いているのでしょ。どうせ。
Sorry, Julia.
もう。
JB has her own position to consider. Middle management in my company means dealing with highly confidential matters. I can't even guess how many secrets she's obligated to keep. And JB's the very model of an uber-professional German, with a deeply ingrained reverence for playing by the rules. Nonetheless, I'm constantly using personal emotions and our shared history with my master to try and pry information out of her. I'm probably going straight to hell based on my treatment of women alone. Well, not that I have the slightest qualifications for heaven in any other respect. I'm worried about Sakaki. I think I'll be getting back to the dorm now.
本当にいいの？このままで。
I'm going to be in danger if I continue interfering in the Sakaki family squabble. And for what JB's told me about Ichigaya's internal situation, there's a real chance my own people might end up trying to kill me. Sakaki's alone. If I leave, she'll lose what little she has left. Now that I've learned about Sakaki's past, closing my eyes and abandoning her is no longer an option. The girl spent her whole life profoundly isolated. And now, yet again, a group of self-centered adults are trying to tear her life apart. Although she cut herself off from others as a means of self-defense, somewhere deep down, Sakaki's still desperately hoping to be rescued. I don't know if I can save her, but if my interference can create a positive change in her life, I'm gonna keep interfering. I owe that much to the woman who pulled me free of the same dark swamp Sakaki's trapped in. Okay, he's doing it in reverence to his master. Okay, I'm starting to like Yuji again. Sorry. Sorry.
ねえユージ
What?
あなたひょっとしてユミコのことが好きなの
Yes, but he doesn't know that yet. Why is it that every woman always goes straight for the romantic explanation? You're no better than those leering gossips in the dorm.
違うって言い切れる
At the very least, that's not what this is about. Probably something closer to sympathy.
同情ね
JB responds in an ambiguous tone that suggests she's only half convinced.
市ヶ谷を含め監視は厳しくなるわよ場合によっては国に歯向かうようなことにもなりかねないわ
Oh, don't worry, he's done it before. In the last route we did, and he did alright. Suppose so.
もう一度ちゃんと考えてユージあなた自身のこともね
Her voice seemed a little lonely at the end. A bright yellow car, badly out of place on the shabby country road, roars around the bend and disappears. The edge of the sky reddens little by little. Clouds begin to gather overhead, suggesting an evening shower to come. JB says difficult things sometimes. Turning over her final words in my mind, I slowly begin to walk the road home. The shower turns out to be a full-blown rainstorm, continuing well into the night. My room's filled with the rushing sound of the rain outside. I sit in bed and listen, completely unable to sleep. Insomnia is not exactly uncommon for me, but today it's not the usual variety. I just can't get that conversation with JB out of my head long enough to nod off. Sakaki Yumiko, eh? Honestly, I didn't give her that much thought at first. Our first encounter certainly left a strong impression, but since then she's tended to fade into the background as often as not. For one thing, I've always tried not to get too deeply involved with my classmates, and she's a deeply private person herself. Sorry, just answering something quick. At some point, I recognized we were pretty similar in that regard. Little by little, I developed something of an interest in her. Yeah, see, he loves her and doesn't even know it yet. He's slowly gonna realize now, it's like, oh shit, I do love her. And right now, she's weighing on my mind more heavily than anything else. Sitting up in my bed, I push the curtain open and look outside. It's coming down even harder than I expected. Staring at the drops of water bouncing off my window, I feel my thoughts suddenly lurch inward. Something almost like nausea wells up inside me. From the bottom of my throat, the depths of my mind, something ugly pushes its way to the surface. Oh my god, is this right-hand possession bullshit again? Think about myself? Those were JB's instructions from this afternoon, weren't they? Funny thing to ask of a pet dog. In between rough breaths, a few self-deprecating words spill out of my mouth. I'm a dog, raised and trained on taxpayer money to accomplish certain jobs. They allow me the bare pretense of humanity, but that privilege is conditional on my absolute loyalty and success. Now I'm on the verge of ignoring orders outright, opposing Ichigaya for the sake of one woman. I had done it before in the last route, so clearly he's got it in him. Is it alright to betray your country to help a single person? My master never taught me the answer to that one. Sakaki. What do you want me to do? A girl whose mother disappeared into a deep fog. A young woman betrayed by her father. A human being who lost sight of herself, consumed by a sense of meaninglessness. Staring at my faint reflection in the window, I ask Sakaki Yumiko a question. I know there's no answer waiting for me. Even Sakaki probably doesn't have one. But at this rate, she won't have the luxury of indecision for much longer. The drumbeat of the rain against my window finally dies down. In the silence, the darkness outside seems to grow thicker and more menacing. Resting both hands on the window, I continue to ask the night questions without answers. It feels like dawn may never come. And yet it did! And the next morning, we're blessed with such pleasant weather that it's hard to believe that storm passed us by only hours before. Even so, Sakaki gives no sign of leaving her room. It's just about the time when she'd usually be heading out for the riverbank, but she doesn't even appear in the lobby. Her shoes sit untouched in the cabinet, slowly gathering dust. In only a few days, that simple daily routine has vanished, leaving nothing but a void behind. And yet again, I have nothing to do but stand around engaging in silent soliloquies. Michiru and Amane eventually invite me on a shopping trip. Probably found it a little hard to watch me guarding Sakaki's invisible afterimage. It didn't seem like Sakaki was likely to step outside of her room today, so I decided to accept.
いや、ごめんね、ユージ。車もバイクも調子悪くてさ。その上いろいろと買うものだけはあって、ちょっと困ってたのよね。セーブするわ。
This might seem like a weird place to stop, but I'm gonna stop here for today. I think that's good enough. Just normal 2 hours, but I think that's a good spot to just leave off right now. At least I think so. Again, a little weird, but I gotta bait you guys that little bit with just what's next, what's coming next. So let's take a gander back at the schedule. Yeah, there we go. As we can see, tomorrow we have double stream. Yeah, we double stream tomorrow. The first stream will not be at 10 o'clock. It'll probably be a bit after, probably closer to noon-ish, somewhere around there, depending. Because I am going to be going to write my knowledge test to get my license that day. Almost certainly in the morning, and I'm not sure how long it'll take. I don't think it'll be very long, but we'll see. So it's almost certainly probably not going to happen at 10. I'm going to shoot for 12 o'clock. And we're just going to do some tier lists anyway, so it'll be something a little more chill, something a little more relaxed. And then at 6 o'clock, we have the Doki Doki Plus collab with Jen, continuing on. Just trying to get all those side stories so we can experience them and, learn to love these girls even more than we already have. But, again, that is it from me for today. So, I want to thank everyone, for watching, commenting, and lurking. I do appreciate it very much. So, I hope you all have yourselves a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.